Came across a story in the New York Times, and I thought it was worth following up on, especially given the fact that not that long ago, something changed in our immigration laws in this country, which will allow Americans specifically, if they have any kind of family history, whether it's father, grandfather, great-great-grandfather, whatever, who had been Canadian, that door now can automatically swing open for those people to become a Canadian citizen. We spoke at that point with Patrice Brunet, who's in the studio with us, by the way. Patrice is a Montreal immigration lawyer. Thank you for coming back. The flip side to this came in an announcement from the U.S. government. The Trump administration on Friday said most foreigners, okay, which would include Canadians, seeking green cards will have to return to their home countries to apply. And that's very much a change from what it is right now, which I would imagine is going to make things even more difficult. So give me your take on this, because my question to you, we were just chatting, was if I'm applying today as a Canadian for a green card, this will obviously apply to me. I can't go into the U.S. I've just been told I can't go in to apply. I got to stay here. But if you're already there, there's a lack of details as to whether you can stay or now have to leave, even though your green card is being processed.
Yeah. Well, it's a memo that was issued by the Trump administration just last week. It's a 6-page memo with minimal details. But the direction they're taking is that green card applicants will have to wait it out outside of the U.S. while their application is being processed, and that's a major shift in policy, because here you're looking at it from the perspective of the dual intent. So the dual intent is when you have a foreign worker, someone on a work permit, whether in Canada or the U.S., they cannot have the intention to permanently establish in the country. So what the Trump administration is saying is as follows. You're on a work permit, you're on a work visa in the U.S. or on a visitor status. You can't have the intention to reside permanently. And here we have a parallel system where while you're waiting for your green card application to be processed, we're allowing you to stay in. So we're separating both, and you can't have it both ways. So if you're in the country, but you want to have your green card being processed, being applied or studied, then you have to wait it out outside of the country. But Aaron, it doesn't make sense. That person is already working in the U.S. They're profitable to the employer.
Yeah, they're not working illegally, despite the fact they're waiting for their green card.
Yeah, they're in status. And then you're telling these people, quit your job, go wait it out in your country at the risk of not returning to the U.S.
Yeah.
And it's not just workers; it's also family reunification. So you're technically what you're going to see is families being divided for months and perhaps years, and perhaps having the spouse not being able to return for any reason.
And there are no definite timelines, because you said details are kind of scant right here, right? Yeah. We don't know what it's going to mean. I see in the story that it said U.S. Citizenship and Immigration, which oversees the system, said it would grant green cards to people inside the country only in, quote, extraordinary circumstances. Yeah. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't either. They haven't defined it. Extraordinary circumstances, special circumstances, they haven't defined it. Think that there's about 1 million people in the U.S. who get their green card while they are in the U.S.
Okay.
So that would apply to about 500,000 people that would have to leave the country. So, we're not jumping on anything for the moment. It's a memo. It's very limited. There's no details to follow. So a number of things can happen. Details can be very, very harsh to follow. Or we could also see this as simply a message that the administration is sending, and then they will revert it back and have a softer stance moving forward. I'm going to follow very cautiously how the employers react to this, because there are significant employers in the U.S., H-1B visa holders, for example, that will be affected by this. Now, it gives a message to individuals who contribute to the U.S. economy to look at other options, other countries. At the other end of the spectrum, you have Spain that just issued a policy just last month that if you've been legally in Spain for 6 months and you have no criminal record or no pending investigation, for the month of June, next month, 500,000 people will be able to stay in Spain. So they're taking the opposite direction. They're recognizing the value of these people in their country, and they're telling them, we're going to regularize your status, and you can stay here probably forever.
Which is interesting because when you watch what's been going on in the U.S., right, between ICE and mass deportations in some cases, this seems to me almost like an extension of that, right? Hey, if you thought you could sneak in, let me read you this quote. It says, this is according to a spokesman for the agency, right, in the U.S. This policy allows our immigration system to function as the law intended instead of incentivizing loopholes. When aliens apply from their home country, it reduces the need to find and remove those who decide to slip into the shadows and remain in the U.S. illegally after being denied residency.
Right.
So if that's sort of, the wide-ranging rule as to why, or explanation as to why they're doing it, it does kind of go back to this whole idea of we don't want anybody here who didn't get in legally.
Yeah.
Even though this is a process, and you've already begun the process before you even go for a green card to get in legally.
But most of them got in legally. Most of these people who are being targeted are currently legal. They have no criminal record, and it's a major shift in the Trump administration's policy, where he got elected on a platform where he wanted to deport all the criminals.
Right.
This is not deporting the criminals. It's terminating a journey that people have anticipated to finish with green card and then citizenship. It's a major shift. So that's going to repulse a lot of people outside of the United States, and I wouldn't be surprised if it had an impact on the economy.
As an immigration lawyer, every time there's an announcement made, I guess people who are concerned will call, like, what does this mean for me? Do you get calls? I mean, either way, Canadians who want to get in here or go to the U.S. or those who want to come into Canada?
We do get calls. We've been very busy for the past 2 years with these immigration shifts in Quebec and Canada, and also in the U.S. There's uncertainty. And based on this memo, this 6-page memo from the Trump administration, there's nothing that I can tell my clients because details are to follow. I can't give them legal advice.
Yeah.
But I can certainly tell them continue shopping around for more stable jurisdictions to immigrate to if you have a choice. If you're in the context of family reunification, usually you don't have a choice. Your spouse is there.
To your point, you said over 1 million people, right, are in the U.S. right now on green cards. This is not just a few, select people. That's a lot of folks.
1 million people are eligible every year for green cards. So half of them would be affected by this.
And it says about 1.4 million green cards were granted in 2024. And then it says, to your point, I'm laughing because it says the same thing. The memo that you're describing was immediately met with confusion and chaos. I think that's a pretty accurate description, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm weighing my words. I'm not using confusion and chaos.
Okay.
I'm just saying uncertainty. But yeah, we can use your words.
So look, at this point, there's really nothing to advise anybody other than to sit and wait for these details to emerge, at which point they can make a decision as to what they're going to do. And again, more importantly, for people already working in the U.S., who've been sitting and waiting, and they tell us nothing in the memo with respect to what an extraordinary situation is. Yeah. It's kind of a rough time to be trying to figure out what your future is going to be.
It's a rough time, especially in the North American space, when you're trying to plan your immigration. In Canada, I would say that for the moment, it's more stable. It's chaotic in Quebec. In the rest of Canada, it's a little bit more stable. Yeah. There's more predictability with the express entry system and the pathway to citizenship. But who knows if that policy will shift 6 months from now? I don't know. We're not getting signals, but you never know.
Can I ask a question? This may not apply, and if it doesn't, just let me know. I'm trying to think back. Tim Hortons made a big announcement yesterday saying that this whole temporary foreign workers program that they've been hiring people under, they're going to get rid of that, push it to the side, and hire 10,000 local people. If you're a temporary foreign worker, and that is your job, and that job is eliminated, what happens to you?
Well, a temporary foreign worker always has an expiration date there on their work permit. The work permit is issued for no more than 3 years at a time. So if that temporary foreign worker is in Canada and is working for Tim Hortons, I would probably be looking for another job. Now, whether or not, I don't have the crystal ball. I'm not in the back rooms of Tim Hortons, but if they figured out how to get 10,000 Canadians who are ready to show up at work at 5 a.m, consistently, day in, day out, temporary foreign workers do that. The local Canadian may do that for a while, but after a while, if you find something else, he may just not show up at work in the morning. That's one of the values of temporary foreign workers. They're committed to the employer, and they're going to show up day in, day out. And they have no other option. They can't go across the street to another employer. So I really can't comment on Tim Hortons' statement, but that seems 10,000 people to replace them with Canadians tomorrow. The effect may be that they'll increase their hourly wage by $5, and that's going to be immediately
I didn't see that part of the
announcement
though about the wage increase. So,
well, I mean that would be good for Canadians if they increase their wages. Great for the
but you know where workers. That goes. That goes to if you increase your wages, we're going to have to increase our prices.
Well, I mean, the margins for Tim Hortons we know they're about 5%. So they don't have a lot of space. Yeah. If they increase the hourly wages, prices will go up and inflation will go up. And then what happens when inflation goes up? Interest rates go up.
Well, thank you for taking us all the way through that one. Pat. All right. Listen, I appreciate you coming in, Patrice Brunet, Montreal immigration lawyer.
This May, iHeartRadio celebrates Asian Heritage Month. Discover powerful stories, vibrant cultures, and unforgettable music. From inspiring podcasts to playlists that span East, South, Southeast, and West Asian artists. We're honoring the voices shaping our world. Listen now on the free iHeartRadio app. And at iHeartRadio.ca.